This is Brian Welch on record, episode 32 or so. Thank you, Dave. I figured this was only appropriate, given the month we're in. I want to start this episode off. Well, I really want to start it off first by apologizing that I waited so long to do this episode. It's been a while. Thank you for sticking around. Thanks for coming back in. Maybe if you left, you got a nice cold beverage and came back in to enjoy the most recent episode. I want to start this episode off actually with what's probably a you had to be there story, because who doesn't like those? Those are always fun at parties. So this was, I was hanging out at the radio station where I am. I don't know if you could say gainfully employed. They do offer me a pittance for the work that I do there, but I was learning how to work some of the the equipment, the things, doing the stuff, and I was hanging out with one of the DJs. I'm not going to name drop because I'm a classy guy, and I'm not sure the name would mean all that much to you out there anyway. So anyway, it was Friday afternoon. We were getting a little silly, and somehow he started into a Jamaican accent, and it's found it hysterical because we were a little giggly, and I don't know what possessed him to talk about this topic, but he started to go, "I saw this man on my street the other day with his Christmas lights still up. I said, 'What are you doing, you damn fool? It's the middle of February.'" And I found out on that day that February is my favorite word to say in a Jamaican accent. February! I don't know. I love it. Maybe that can be the call of the show. Like shows have things that they like to call out in catchphrases. Be like, "What's your favorite month? February!" Anyway, thanks for sticking around. You probably had to be there. I think I was probably right about my assessment before I told the story. At least I warned you up front. So anyway, what else is new? Oh, I'll like to talk about the Super Bowl. This is why I should have done the episode a couple weeks ago. It was really topical. How about that Super Bowl, gang? How about that Super Bowl the other night? Boy, that was wild. I'd love to give you my breaking impression on McDonald's. Madonna's. Sponsored by McDonald's, maybe. Madonna's performance. No, but anyway, my Super Bowl party. By the way, great support last time for my guest in the studio, Mr. Jimmy Malone. I still can't reach him on the phone. I think he might have taken the game a little hard. So anyway, we'll see. We'll keep trying. Derek, have you been able to reach him yet? No. Does he have your number? Does he think that you're just like a solicitor calling, maybe? Oh, sorry. I'll keep trying later. Not now. We're shooting. Derek, we're live here. Sort of. So let's see. What was my Super Bowl party, you might ask? Well, that's very polite of you. Well, I'll tell you. I spent the evening, Sunday the 5th, at work with no customers. I was there with a couple of other associates. We were hanging out. We had to be at the store where we had a crew come in and strip and wax the floors. Whew. Oh man, that story started bad, got uglier, and but then it picked itself up a little bit. Yeah, so we had to be there overnight. Well, they did this. They wheeled out this horrible acid wash formula and stripped everything, all the coating off the floor, all the tile, and then laid down a fresh coat of wax, and we were babysitting for the majority of it. We had to get everything off the floor, then put everything we could back on the floor, and so then it gets to about, I don't know, it was probably like 6 a.m. or so, and they had finished, so we were putting everything back, and we also had to paint the manager's office. And I was like, yeah, that sounds like, it's not like we're dealing with the fumes this whole time with all this, stripping compound and the wax they're putting down and the gas, the propane machine. I don't even know what that did. I think they just might have been drilling. And it was like, there was probably my fume-addled, sleep-deprived mind was like, I don't see a problem with locking myself in a small room after the floors have been treated and painting. Yeah, why not? Sounds like fun. What do you think, Purple Dragon, that's singing Pink Floyd songs? Sounds like a good idea to you, too? Why don't you come along? So I painted the office, and I'm not a very good painter, I found out. I'm no, who's that? I'm no Da Vinci. I'm no Michelangelo. They didn't want, thank goodness they didn't want any frescoes on the ceiling. Much to my relief, I just master of the roller. And then I want to do it white. I was like, why don't we, let's get crazy. Let's do gold on one wall and black on a wall and purple on a wall. I think that'd be pretty fancy. So anyway, we did all that. Got a good majority of the furniture back into the manager's office, which is like, it was about an inch too narrow on one wall, so the sections of desk overlap each other by about an inch, and they're completely falling apart. So this one is at an incline. I mean, we could have pushed the wall back. We could have knocked it down and laid some new drywall 2 inches down. I don't know. Guess we just weren't feeling that ambitious after the evening's events. By the way, this whole time we were trapped back in what we call our warehouse, which is a very small area, truth be told. I'm not proud of it. Nothing really to do. A lot of the lights were off. Our best recourse was to peruse the self-help books that we had on a rack that we'd moved back there near where we were camped out. Most of them, you don't have, at 2 in the morning, you don't have a strong interest to read the 4-hour work week or the 1-minute manager or what's a disorganized person to do. So we all picked up the various in the series of Eat This, Not That. And it's enlightening and horrifying because you're like, oh, I keep that in mind. Oh my gosh, I eat those all the time. What am I doing? And it's not a good book to read if you enjoy going to places, like Bennigan's or Applebee's. And the last time we were at Chili's, after going through all this, I looked at the waiter when he came by to take our order. I was like, "You're trying to kill me, aren't you? What did I ever do to you? Why have you wished this upon me?" I guess you learn, whatever. Anyway, the accumulated fumes of the evening must have been very similar to what the kids are into the stuff and paint. We didn't have a choice because 2 of us afterwards were like, "Denny's, we gotta get to Denny's." So we went there. It was like 7 a.m. We were the only ones in the restaurant. We each killed a grand slam, like 3 cups of coffee. And then I went home. And what did I do, folks? I watched the Super Bowl. Come again? That's correct. Not only had I successfully avoided hearing the outcome the entire 13 hours I was locked up at work, I avoided hearing about it in the restaurant and on the ride home and from any of my roommates. And I used some of the magic, the wizardry that we know around here since the DVR. It's the DVR. Which apparently is a sign of affluence to some people. We had some people over there just like, "Oh my, wow, you can rewind live TV? Sorcery." And I watched the Super Bowl in its entirety. And, it's like normally the idea of DVRing some things you could fast forward to the commercials. But it's like, well, some people come just for that. So I watched the whole darn thing. And I got to tell you, folks, it was a great game. First of all, I want to brag. Moments before the 2-minute warning, I predicted Giants 22-17. Now, that was before the Patriots' first touchdown. Had the game played out a little bit differently, Giants go for the extra point and just kick the extra point instead of going for 2, and I look like the smartest man on earth in my sleep-deprived mind. Anyway, I gotta tell you, I was not wild about the Madonna halftime show. As it's kicking off, as it's starting, one of my roommates is watching with me, and it slowly dawns on me that I'm not a big fan of really any of Madonna's songs. Pardon me, that was so rude. Not insulting Madonna, burping into the microphone. I don't have a problem making fun of her. I was just like, I don't think I really like any of her songs. I don't think I'm looking forward to anything that she might do in this halftime show. And this had started out very weird, where she was hauled out by like the 40 people with the weird garb on, and he was like, "You can just fast forward." And I was just like, "No, David, I have to watch this because I have to know what happens." Sometimes in life, you have to do things that you don't want to do. Just because. It's part of being an adult. That's what I told him. Probably sounded very silly. And then at some point I just started babbling about things that I was observing during the halftime show, during the game. And I apologized to him briefly because I was like, I think this is just like a crazy stream of consciousness. And after a pause, it was probably too long to continue the same joke I said. And that stream's pretty polluted. And when I get tired, I'm not as quick as I usually am, but I'm much more proud of what I do come up with. And I was very much enjoying that moment. I don't know what to say. He was I missed the Aaron Hernandez touchdown. I missed him opening the vault and making it rain. I had to go back and find that. I mean, I guess you could say, well, I successfully avoided hearing about his touchdown celebration and was able to watch it later with being surprised. But I wasn't. It was my mistake trying to watch the halftime show. And is it a supine position? Am I saying that right? Is that the right word even? I don't know. I don't know these things. And I dozed briefly, and David woke me up, roused me, and was like, "Are you asleep? No. Did you catch a touchdown? No. Okay, maybe I was asleep." Anyway, it was quite the adventure, and I thank you so much for staying tuned. I've got a crazy story about the following weekend that I promise you will come in an episode that I'd like to. Promises are things that you say to people to make them like you, and to that end, I promise you the next episode will not be too far off. Till then, enjoy the rest of this month of February.